over it. We don't intend to offend anybody, but this is who we are. Well, God in His Word has commanded us to remember the past. Now this year, not only do we remember the victory at the Boyne, but we remember, as you see here, the 500th anniversary of the commencement of the Reformation, when Martin Luther nailed those 95 theses to the church door at Wittenberg. That was the notice board of that day. Has the Reformation anything to do with the Boyne? Of course it has. William, before he came to the shores of the United Kingdom, was already known in Europe as the defender of Protestantism. Strife will not be long, this day the noise of battle, the next the victor's song. To him that overcometh, a crown of life shall be.
So in the late 80s, maybe just the early 20s, I joined a Republican flute band based in the east end of Glasgow called the Sons of Ireland Republican Flute Band. We started going over to Ireland, and it was only really then when I became the flute band I started to become more politically aware, if you like. Through maybe 5-6 years in the flute band, myself and a couple of other guys decided to start a band. And that was called Galtimore at that time. We ended up, we kind of split up, and two members of the band, myself and a guy called Timmy Dockery, we decided to form another band, which was Shebeen. And we've gone ever since. We've played all over, played Australia, America.
And I say, our 21st anniversary with being in Shebeen, this is absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
this is the big problem there, where we keep getting hammered, and you have the likes of the bands people getting pulled in by the cops because people are videoing stuff. You see it on Facebook now, like today, certain pubs will say you'll be searched going in, no videoing, no nothing, because they know the cops, once it's on YouTube or Facebook, will come to the pubs. So this is how I got into doing sort of concerts when Celtic played away from home. Like, the fans want to sing them songs. You know, like when we play away in Europe, that's predominantly what you will hear. Songs that we're not allowed to sing here, or like BT Sports, the ones who do the live games, like they turn the volume down of the Celtic support during live games away from home because of the songs. Yeah, they've seen it there on Twitter, like Rangers playing at Dundee, and they're like, you're turning the Celtic fans down when they sing Roll of Honour, but when Rangers are singing about paedophilia, fuck the Pope, etc., you don't turn it down. So who's deciding what's offensive to some people? So like, that's what we started doing then, is bringing predominantly the bands like Shebeen, Glasgow, okay, we've had the Irish Brigade, Spirit of Freedom, and take them to different European cities. And it is like music, like most football teams, I think we're lucky where like elsewhere in the world music doesn't relate to them. Their music would be the ultras singing on match day, and that's it. But like with Celtic, we're lucky, we have like our struggle in history and song. People sing what they want, and like, I think we should sing what we want. It's our history, and I don't think we need to apologise, because like every group of people are going to piss someone off if you don't agree with that, what they stand for.
When we left Belfast to go to Glasgow to see the football, over in Glasgow, us as Irish could actually express ourselves as being Irish in Glasgow. Something that we couldn't do in our own town, you know. And that bond between the Irish and the Scots, I mean, it was always fantastic, you know.
When Belfast Celtic went and there were no more Celtic, you know, there was no more Celtic to support in Ireland, Celtic supporters travelled in greater numbers to Glasgow. They took Glasgow Celtic to the heart. The Irish in Glasgow, the Irish in Scotland in general, were unwelcome, very, very unwelcome. They met with a very hostile Scottish population, largely, I think, Presbyterian, Protestant, so therefore the Catholic views were unwelcome from day one. The fact that the Irish had arrived there with no jobs, no homes, and no possessions, angered the Scots, who probably worried about their own jobs, their own security, and their own wealth, and the wealth of their country. In 1888, Brother Walfrid had an idea of forming a football team along with Jack Glass and some others. It was to raise funds, much needed funds, to feed the starving children. They set up the Celtic Football Club to provide food for the Irish diaspora in particular. However, there were Italians, there were Polish, and there were many others from the continent, from the European continent, who had arrived in Scotland at that time.
Yeah, how did I get into Celtic? It would have been, like, my mother's side of the family were Irish, and I remember I would have been about 6 years old, and I was sent, like, a Celtic jersey. So that would have been 1970, and I was living in Hong Kong, and, like, the jerseys then were like, was like wearing a sheep, the big thick things. But that was my first Celtic jersey, and you'd wear it in Hong Kong in like 40 degrees heat. So I'd never really seen a game, or like my father wasn't into football. But same with anything, it was only when we came on holidays. I was living in Germany then as a child, coming back to Scotland on holidays, and my grandfather would have Celtic LPs playing the songs and all this. And it was only about, I think it was 82, I went to my first Celtic game. I was in the British Army then. I was following Chelsea with their sort of, like, I wouldn't say hooligans, but like there was a lot of trouble going on then, and came up for the first Celtic game by myself, English accent, ended up in the jungle, and it was like, what the fuck is this, like, which was the main fan thing, the terracing. And I always remember I asked someone what the score was, and it was 1-0 to Dundee, and we won 3-1. But what struck in my head were the songs, because I'd never heard Irish Republican songs. Obviously I was back in the army. Every time I came up and I was going to matches, but I'd go into a bookshop in Trongate and buy books on Irish history. So I couldn't take them back with me to the army. I was reading them when I'm on holiday. So then it was sort of like changing your perspective of what we were told through the press.
Along with my friends, we started going at that young age. We didn't go along with adults. We were young boys, and we would go in a group to the football, and we would try and get in for free. We would be lifted over the turnstiles, the gates. And as you attended football, you became aware of the songs. And there was obviously a lot of Celtic songs, but it was these songs were intermingled by songs about Irish freedom. So that was how it initially sparked your curiosity about what these songs were and where they came from. I don't consider myself an Irish Republican by any means. I do consider myself a Scottish Republican. I do believe in the right for our country here to have its own destiny. But in many ways, the fight for Scottish independence is linked to what's going on in Ireland over the years.
We're an Irish club. Some would say an Irish club and a Scottish institution. And then, like, from my own point of view, my politics was formed before I ever came to see Celtic. I remember as a kid the hunger strikers, which was Ferry, and the Black Flag protests, which went throughout Ireland and throughout the world. And then I suppose, you know, through music as a teenager, you become politicised. I was influenced by left-wing bands, Billy Bragg, the Redskins, the Housemans, bands like that. So I suppose by the time I'd come in as a 16, 17-year-old to see Celtic for the first time, to see the tricolour flying, you kind of get a bond. I know this is the club for me, this is the club of the diaspora. Because, not by choice.
You've got the Green Brigade, who are great guys, and they've kept the sort of the not the extreme, but certainly that radicalism that's needed from an ultra group. They've kept that going, and they've got into trouble on many occasions, but they have shown their political their political sort of like knowledge by supporting the Palestinian cause. And the reason why Celtic fans, a lot of Celtic fans, and in particular the Green Brigade, support the Palestinian cause is they see the Palestinian conflict and the oppression of the Palestinian people by the Zionists as very much in tune with what happened in Ireland and the oppression of the Irish people by the English over many centuries. So therefore, the radical Celtic support still identifies with many causes throughout the world, and I've used the Palestinian one as probably our primary support goes there.
It was brilliant as well when you have Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, you know, using the Green Brigade's Palestinian display as a backdrop on his concert, you know, and coming out and thanking the Celtic support for showing solidarity, you know.
The fans were losing interest, and the Green Brigade came along with like a breath fresh of air, so they were, and it just changed the whole atmosphere about the stadium, which is drilling from one end of the stadium right through to the other. They're a huge, huge influence, and there's a lot of people that don't like them, a lot of people that do. You're going to have that in every aspect of football with fans. They're not always going to be agreement, and they're always going to be divided, but a majority of them do support them and welcome them every week with open arms, because they do bring a difference to the club in the modern football.
For me, the Green Brigade do a fantastic job, and remembering Big Banner for Bobby Sands and stuff like that, and keeping Irish republicanism at the forefront in that stadium. They took a lot of flack for doing it, and they've faced a lot.
The Green Brigade aren't hardcore Republicans by any means, and not every member of the Green Brigade is a hardcore Republican, but they describe themselves as anti-fascist, anti-racist group, with left-wing group. Yeah, they believe in the right to express themselves in whatever way they want, and to express their views on the political views, which they do. And I don't think there'll be anything that prevents that. I mean, Police Scotland are trying their best to disrupt the group as much as possible. I think a third of the membership are actually facing charges in the Scottish courts just now. But thanks to the help of the rest of the Celtic support, funds are being raised to fight these cases in court, and more often than not, they're found not guilty. So long may that continue, because the law is basically a clamp on freedom of speech.
The bill against the football fans, where like now you sing a song like Roll of Honour, and he would have had the figures how many have been arrested, waiting trial for it, doors going in the morning by the police coming to your workplace to arrest you for singing a song. About 10 people who died on hunger strike, and one was an elected an MP. So how's that offensive? It's only offensive if people want to make it offensive, you know, and these same people would say, well, it's offensive Celtic being perceived as a Catholic team.
Ultras are different for our supporters, and they're more extreme in their views. I think there are many Celtic supporters who aren't ultras, who are much more involved in the Republican movement than the Green Brigade. Traditionally, our supporters clubs are small clubs from each individual area of Glasgow, or from different parts of the country, but we have hundreds of supporters clubs within the city alone, who each from their own community travel to the away games or travel to Europe together on coaches and buses, and always 99% of these buses, when you enter that bus, when you go on that bus to travel to an away game, there'll be music playing, and that music will be Republican music, almost to every bus. There are not many buses that won't be playing Republican music as they travel to away games. So that's fine and fair. And then you get off the bus, and these same songs can't be sang within the stadium. It becomes an offence, but you can sing them on this bus on the way to football, and there's no problem. But many of these people are older guys, much older than me. I mean, the ultras is predominantly a young man's area, but many of the people who are involved in the Republican movement have been involved since they were children, and they're now 60, 70 years of age, and these guys are singing about songs of freedom about Ireland. So it's not just about the younger guys. It's something that's been with us since Celtic began, obviously, and it's been carried through the generations.
Belfast to me is my town, and I've no fear of wearing my top anywhere. But I've seen for years having to hide a top, having to hide your scarf going into the town, And you get harassed, not just by the loyalists or the clowns, you get harassed by the cops. See, 1969, don't forget, these things all started and had the civil rights, and all the civil rights wanted was equality. They didn't want money or anything, they just wanted to be on the same level as a unionist, and they couldn't even give us that. See, this place is run by the Orange Order. My father and mother and all that generation who had skills for jobs, who had the skills, but once they had the question, what school did you go to? You had no job. Once you said St Mary's or St Patrick's, that's your Catholic. Scots, the Irish and the Welsh, and we are all Celts. Maybe that's where it all came from, that's the whole sort of bond thing. And the only thing that keeps me alive, and I'm being honest here, is the thought of my next game heading to Glasgow. I'm away in the morning with AIDS and all. And that keeps me going. If I hadn't got Glasgow Celtic, I've got nothing to live for. Okay, my family and all that, that's only natural. I had a stroke 8 years ago. And if I hadn't got Celtic, I'd be dead. I know that for a fact. But now I'm talking to you now, but inside I'm building up for tomorrow morning to go to Glasgow, just to see all my friends over there, you know, my family, and they are my family. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, they're so welcoming, so family, just family. You know what I mean? I just couldn't go ahead headquarters. That's Bird's Bar in the Barrowlands, which is now closed down.
Take yourself ready.
This is John Fallon, the ex-keeper, who's a lamb.
You want to go for lunch or something?
This is myself outside Parkhead, or a normal day. I got this thing sent over just only last night from Bobby Lennox. Now these are the two pictures I was telling you about Belfast Celtic. That and that and they were given to me by a very old man outside Parkhead, and he's telling me about his experience with Belfast Celtic. And like Ajo said before, he had tears in his eyes. You know, I mean, this person doesn't die in you; it's in you for life, you know. And this is my transport over in Glasgow now. This is what I use in Glasgow. Nah, you know, and this here is it's a scooter squad, Belfast. And what we do is we make money for charity. You see, don't forget, we're based on charity. Every year we have a big dinner held, and ours this year, in fact, is on May 25th this year. And there'll be 4 charities will be giving money off our club, Erngobla. And this is every year. And that's what the Celtic fans do. It's all based on charity because, you know, you see, we actually don't forget where we came from. And I would have just show you this here now, and you may think it's stupid, but it's not.
I just phoned her now. I've been out, so I just phoned her now. Yeah. See,
you see,
she says she seemed dead on. The girl seemed dead on.
You see, that's the founder. That's Brother Wilford, yeah. This picture here, that's my friend Charlie Kelly, and this is down in the Belfast Celtic Museum here in Belfast. if you want to learn about Belfast Celtic, you know, see all the old programmes and all, you know, things like that. And this is my bedroom here, where some people tell me I am crazy, but these are all Celtic stuff, CDs, books, you know. This is where I sleep, you know, and things like that. You know, and that's my three-piece suite. Okay.
Right, I'm going to have to go soon, so can I drop you somewhere? This is what's called Ardoyne, all small streets. One of the first acts of the Troubles were the people of Ardoyne were burnt out of their homes by the Protestants who came over from the Shankill and started burning the people's homes around here. On your right hand side you have the Shankill, you have all the loyalist flags here behind you. So this is the Shankill Road, exclusively Protestant. On the other side you would have the Falls Road, which is exclusively Catholic. The war, the conflict, from a Republican perspective, was never about Catholic Protestant, never ever about a sectarian motive. It was about Britain being in Ireland, or Britain's right to be in Ireland. So this is, when we go down the Shankill, you've got obviously the trappings of England and of Britishness here. This is one of their. They have copied the murals from the falls. You can see they have copied our murals. They never had murals like this when I was 29. You were saying to me, one day you'll be driving around the Shankill. I would have thought you were fucking insane, because I would never ever be in the Shankill Road.
I have a granddaughter. Says to me, you know, sometimes you are sectarian. Granda, I know. I was made sectarian by the antics of the British who had the power here. And you say, you know, it's a government and over in London or here. It's the Orange Order run this country, you know. And that bigotry has always been there, you know. And as you're growing up in this here, I mean, it's a way of life. I was actually reared on Belfast Celtic. I never ever seen them playing, but my father, he was a Celtic fan, and you're reared on the tales of Bertie Peacock, Charlie Tully, you know, and then this thing came along, and then Glasgow Celtic.
Celtic have always had, we've always had a great affinity with them, which is understandable, playing in the same colours with a similar name, Belfast Celtic, Glasgow Celtic. So there's that camaraderie. And of course, as Davy says, when Belfast Celtic went out of football, a lot of Belfast Celtic fans transferred their allegiance to Glasgow because really there was nothing locally for them to cling on to. So that's really where you've got this tremendous support built up over the years of young lads going over quite literally every week to support Celtic.
and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irishman and Irishwoman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens.
There's great connections between Glasgow and Belfast and Glasgow and Derry and different cities in different places. But it's just all because we're all Irish, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Glasgow is the biggest area in Scotland for Irish immigrants in the past, so people with an Irish identity, well, it'd be first generation, second generation, third generation, whatever, the majority of them would stay in Glasgow and the surrounding areas. Irish is the biggest ethnic minority in Scotland, and it had no representation until we actually forced the issue and got on. Grandmother were born in Scotland, but they always had a strong Irish identity, and so I feel Scots-Irish or Irish-Scots, whatever you want to put it. This is the country I live in, and this is the country I love. Most of them are Irish Catholics, and Scotland is a very Protestant country, right? So they didn't recognise the Irish. The Irish got all the worst jobs and stuff like that. And there used to be signs and words over here saying no blacks and no Irish need apply for jobs, right? So traditionally, the Irish kept their head down, just got on their work, so they didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to say anything, you know, didn't want to cause any hassle. But as years have went on, now I'm fourth generation Irish myself. As we've grew up, we've took up our grandfathers and great-grandfathers' mantle, but we're standing up for the Irish now, you know what I mean? I myself, personally, have been warned 3 times by the police that my life's in danger, you know what I mean? That people are going to try and kill me, unnamed people. And this is all because we're standing up for the Irish community, who should have the same rights as everybody else in the community, you know what I mean? We don't only stand up for the Irish community, we'll stand up for the black community, we'll stand up for the Asian community, we'll stand up for any community. Racism's wrong in any walk of life, you know what I mean? Not just against the Irish. We have to put ourselves forward. It doesn't matter what's in front of us, you know what I mean? We have to put ourselves forward for the better of our children and our children's children, because if we don't, the Irish community in Scotland will get trampled on for years and years to come. And I'm very proud of this organisation. I'm very proud of this generation of Irish people, whether it be first, second, third, fourth generation, that are standing up in Scotland. It is a fight, it's a hard fight, but slowly but surely we are winning. Traditionally the Irish people will sing about Irish songs, and I know what you're saying, they're born in Scotland as I am, but we've got that bit of Irishness in us, and that's the way we express it. We go to, now, Celtic would rather, as a football club, that you didn't sing Irish songs, you know what I mean? The supporters would feel more affinity with Ireland than Celtic do, or with, not with Ireland, but the Irish struggle for freedom. So the supporters would feel affinity with that, because most of them have faced struggles here. So the songs and that mean a lot to us, you know what I mean? Irish music means a lot to us. It's a way of getting out and expressing yourself, where other people might sit in the house and might not do anything, they might not express their Irishness because they live in an area where it's not very wise to express your Irishness. When they go to a stadium full of people and they can sing, they can enjoy themselves, and they're not going to get attacked or anything like that, you know what I mean? Which in other places you would do for singing an Irish song.
Celtic is probably the biggest trophy of the Irish diaspora. Get any supporters bus, you know, the first chant will be get the Rebs on, you know, get the ballots on. You've also got, you know, you go to many pubs, you know, they'll hear ballads. You'll hear songs of, you know, freedom. You'll sing songs about Ireland, from, you know, Grace to songs about the hunger strikers.
1, 2, 3, 4! I have been a parole for 50 years or more. Down the line in front of all my guys in a store. Now we've got a weapon that we've never used before. The Brits are looking away. Who are we? And they're going away more. Shocking our lives. Stay up the round. Who are up the round?
Shebeen is in-your-face Irish Republican band. I mean, our goal is to forward the story and the hopes of the Republican movement.
Let's be realistic, we're not singing songs of killing people. We're singing about history, you know. History should never offend anyone, it's there, it's a fact. And that's the thing with the Green Brigade, they're keeping that going with the younger generation who weren't around when the hunger strikes were on and the troubles there, like the so-called Good Friday children. So, but at least they're taking an interest in it, you know, and they're not just, I don't think they're just learning a song. I'd say they've read books and seen documentaries, you know what I mean, so.
The other Celtic fans singing the Roll of Honour or going home British soldiers, or, I mean, they don't like that, you know what I mean? So it's, I mean, although there's a mix, there's not, I mean, there's I would say 100% of Celtic fans are Republicans, or 100% of Republicans are Celtic fans, you know what I mean?
'Twas down by the glenside I met an old woman. She's plucking young nettles, she scarce saw me coming. I listened a while to the song she was humming, and glomio to the bold Fenian man. 'Twas 16 long years since I saw the moon beaming, and strong man forgeth their eyes with hope gleaming. I see them again through all my sad dreaming. Glomio to the bold Fenian man. Some died in the haze blocks, some died with a stranger, and a wise man, they told us, our cause was a failure. But he fought for their country, and he never feared danger. Glomio to the bold Fenian man. I went on my way.
I got involved in all the ratting and all the fighting, and the weekend of August 15th, 16th, 17th, August 14th, 15th, 16th. There were a number of people in here killed and about 90 wounded by gunfire, and 3 streets completely destroyed. So it was a very, very, very harsh, hard period of time for people. And so the IRA there went on the offensive, and then you had that loyalist area in there. They would be shooting at people in here. The school still continued. People got a little bit of hassle, but it was only in 2001 that it erupted, and it became a focal point around the world. And there were murals done, you know, similar to
how school kids were treated in Alabama in the 1960s and the Southern states. So there was that focal point on it. Now, their politicians stood by the loyalists and did not condemn the activities of blockade kids at that age. So it was, it's horrendous. IRA, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4 who lost their lives during the conflict. The guy, the second from the top, Josh Campbell, I was actually with him when he was killed. We were just down here, both sides of the street. The British, we were in a gun battle with British troops, and it was, I'll tell you where we were. They were here, and we were here. See, behind this, it was that close in behind this at the garden. These walls weren't here. It was just hedges, and I was here, and Josh was at that corner, and Josh got hit in the head. And there was a British soldier, one of the boys on the other side ended up, there was a British soldier shotting someone else. It was just one of these gun battle situations that occurred along this road. But this area here is Ardoyne. It's a very hard-nosed, working class, very staunch Republican area. We have a big vote in this area here. And go back 300-400 years beyond that, in order for the British to defeat the Irish armies in the late 1600s, they brought over thousands of what are called settlers, like colonials, and they were all lowland Scots, north of England, but mostly Presbyterians. And the fight was actually for the control of the English throne between King James, who was the Catholic King of England, and Prince William of Orange, who was a Dutchman, that they wanted to install on the English throne. But the battle for the English throne took place in Ireland. 10 very, very courageous people died, very courageous volunteers died on hunger strike to get a retention political status. And in the aftermath of that there, once we got our own clothes, because you were naked in cells, you had to wear a blanket. This was going on for 5 years, from September 76 right through to October 81 when it finished. And, but once we got our own clothes, we were able to get out of the cells and agitate and organise. And within 2 years, we pulled off the biggest escape under British rule. And 38 of us broke out of the hitchblocks up at Long-Kesh. So he is an iconic figure all around the world too. I mean, there are people, you go everywhere. And if you mention where you're from, and see in Iran, I know people have said to me they've been in Iran and meet Iranian people and they're over there and they say, where are you from? Ireland? And they've no English, they say, oh, Bobby Sands. So he's an internationally renowned figure.
Glasgow Celtic don't need me, but I need Glasgow Celtic. And there's thousands upon thousands of fans from Belfast and Derry and Cork and Ulster and all around. Feel the same way.
There's thousands come over every week, thousands travel to Europe. As I say, it's not just Scottish people support Celtic. Celtic have a very massive following from Ireland and all over the world. Very proud of who I am, what I represent, what I'm doing. I think I'm going in the right direction. Politics-wise, football-wise, Celtic's going in the right direction.
Celtic is much more than the 90 minutes on the pitch. You know, it's an identity, it's a culture. It's, you know, you don't just live the 90 minutes, you know, it's all week.
Whereby a lot of our support would be non-Catholic, certainly non-Republican and non-Irish.
So, the fans are well represented, you know. But ultimately, you know, the club is a commercial entity. So ultimately, I suppose it's up to the fans to keep the cultural aspect of it, you know. And I don't think you will ever rewrite your history, and I don't think anyone will ever You know, like, we are linked with Ireland, you know. Like, there's more supporters clubs in Ireland of Celtic than of any other team, you know. More people travel to see Celtic from Ireland than any British team, any team in the Premier League, even though they probably have a better product to sell.
You're always going to have the Irish. You're always going to have the Irish support. You're always going to have the Irish national support.
Because you know why? They don't want me there. They don't want me there. Why?
Oh, Father, why are you so sad on this bright Easter morn? When Irishmen are climbing the land of land,
at that time there was maybe 4 teams already in the Irish League.
and memories few of far off distant days, when being just a boy like you, then I joined the IRA, where all the lads who stood with me in history's face. Oh, Gravity, I love this here, to see the boys of the old regime. From hill to far, the call to arms was heard by one and all. And from the glen, we brave young men, and answered Ireland's call. But long ago.
Allora, tu sei pronto? Posso farlo partire?
Come on!
I drove my sarsen through your garden last night. I kicked your back door and around in the night. And something's telling me, boy, you're avoiding me. But when I find you, you will go up for your team. Cause I've got a brand new shiny helmet, paired up kinky boots. I've got a lovely new flag jacket and a lovely khaki suit. When we go on night patrol, hold each other's hand. We are the British Army, we're here to dig your land. My good friend Bertie, he's in the UDR, searching for weapons, he will go near and far. And up here in Baikapa, you will never find a bear, and the only gun you'll get there is an Armalite in his ear. Cause I've got a brand new shiny helmet, paired up kinky boots. I've got a lovely new flag jacket and a lovely khaki suit. When we go on night patrol, hold each other's hand. We are the British Army, we're here to take your hand. We are the British Army and we're here to take your land.